Aaron Henry during a team huddle for his lack of defense. Michigan State got the win, but all questions after the game focused around the fiery exchange.
This is one and done time, you know. The my bads are out the window. If they're my bads because that team played better or that guy played better, if it's my bad because I decided to jog back instead of sprint back, then it is your bad and you're going to hear about it. So that's what it was. I get a kick out of you guys. Get after somebody because you're trying to hold them accountable. I don't know what kind of business you're in, but I'll tell you what, if I was the head of a newspaper and you didn't do your job, you'd be held accountable. That's the way it is.
All right, see, what was your reaction to watching this yesterday?
Well, I'm old school as far as a coaching and what a coach can bring to a young person. This is something as far as college, too, because a lot of times the optics, they don't look good. But I'm going to tell you what, it boils down to a few small things. Coach Izzo made a promise to that kid and his parents. And last night when he was yelling at that kid, I was wondering if the kid's parents were at the game, how would the kid's parents feel? And you know something? The kids' parents be like, that's what we signed up for. When he sat in our living room, he told us, I'm going to promise you, I'm going to be on your son. I'm going to grow him from a young boy into being a real man, and I'm going to get him his college degree. Those are the things that Coach Izzo promises kids and their family. And that's what Aaron Henry got last night. You don't want to rebound? You don't want to run back on defense? You're going to get chewed out by the coach. And I believe that this coaching will always be effective. I talked to Coach Izzo last night. We went over this, the things he was saying, why he was disappointed, and he just believes in society, people are just getting soft. They don't want to be pushed. They don't want to be driven, and there's a certain standard in every business. And in his business, he set the standard. He is one of the icons that we have coaching. And if I had a kid who can play basketball, he could play for Coach Izzo.
So I've evolved on this over the years because I used to instantly hate it on the college level because it felt to me like there was such a departure in power between the millionaire employed coach and the teenage or young 20s college athlete. And then I got to know a coach named Frank Martin who coached at the University of South Carolina. And I know how his players talk about him, the relationships that he has with them long-term throughout their entire lives. And he is a yeller and a screamer. And Frank's gotten in trouble in the past for being a guy who might tap you on your chest a bit. And then through Chris, I got to know Coach Izzo a little bit. Not the way Chris does, but a little bit. And the way his players swear by him post-graduation. And graduation's important now because he graduates as many of his players as anybody in college basketball. And the other element of yesterday that I think makes this where you have to evaluate it individually is you saw that the other players on the team felt licensed to grab Coach Izzo. Some of these coaches, when they are losing their mind, that don't have the relationship with the players, nobody can go near them. Other coaches can't go near him, much less one of the players. Cassius Winston grabs him and pushes him down. Another player grabs him and brings him back. Cassius said after the game that he talked to Coach Izzo and said, let me talk to Aaron. I think I can get the message across. And so I can't sit here and say Tom Izzo is a bad guy because of this. His players adore him. And Chris's point that they know what they signed up for, he's been doing this on national television for 25 years. They know this is the style of coaching they're going to get. Now, after the game, could he have said, and if he was asking my counsel, which he's not, listen.
He's not.
I understood, but what my counsel would have been, something along the lines of, hey, Aaron was making a mistake. It's a very big game. I needed him to understand what I needed him to do. Could I have done it a little differently? I could have. But I don't think he thinks he wanted to do it differently. I think he thinks this is exactly the way that young man needs to be coached. And since you have a list...
Yeah, how do you prepare for the show?
What do you mean, how do I prepare for the show?
You have a style.
I have a style.
It's
Absolutely.
yours.
Correct.
Okay.
It does not mean it's for everyone else, is your point.
Abso-freaking-lutely. And there's no way we can prepare someone else, but you're being truly to yourself.
100%.
That's who Coach Izzo is. Like, people don't want people to be themselves. They're like, oh, man, I want you to be the best you, until it involves something strenuous. Now, most people don't want to be coached, even in this business. The people who run this, they know they can coach me. They can tell me anything, and I'll try to make instant improvement. But that is not the way with normal people. People don't want change, they don't want to be corrected, and they don't want to be pushed. They want to go at their own speed. But sometimes, to be able to get the wine out the grape, you have to sometimes be able to yell at them to be able to get them to that spot.
But there also, just real quick, I'm sorry, Jenna, but there also has to be the flip side to it, which there has to be the belief from the player, this man cares about me and is invested in me as a person and a basketball
Michigan
player.
State is one of the top 10 programs in the country. These kids were not forced to go there. They had other choices. If they wanted it easy, there's easy places to go. And we know who they are. We know who the coaches are. We know the ones who coddle the players. If that's what you want, then there's a place to sign up for it. But if you come into Michigan State, that's what you're going to be getting, and you don't have to apologize after it either, because that's who Coach is.
Right. Well, to your point, Aaron Henry did say afterwards, I get it. I've seen worse from him in practice. It actually isn't that huge of a deal, and he understood it, and the criticism was twofold. What you said, the fact that he doubled down on it afterwards, and that it actually happened in of itself. And you just wonder if you think style of coaching that is even effective with today's players. They get ready to go.
It's still effective. The most successful coaches we have, Bill Belichick. Style what? Just like that. College football, the greatest, they're all great. Who is it? Nick Saban. Style what? Just like that. Coach Izzo wish he was coaching football, because they allow football coaches to get away with it more. And he also talked about spring football.
Right. And before I let you go, we're getting excited for football.
But the point that I was making there at the end, and I think it needs to be heard, is that it only works, I think, long term, if your players believe you are invested in them. We've seen a lot of college coaches that are this style of coaches that burn out or flame out or don't last.
I always think in athletics, this will always have a spot. If you are coaching the fundamentals, if you are a verbal, if you are a chastised player, it will always work in sports, because it's not like your normal job. It's sports. Kids get used to it. From a small age, they get used to it. How they're doing their job is in a different environment. How it's communicated is very different. It will always be effective. Hats off to Coach Izzo.
All right, and Lupe, the most anticipated NCAA tournament debut has to be that of Zion Williamson. Best player on the best team, #1 overall seed, Duke getting ready to take on North Dakota State tonight. The task is a tall one for any 16 seed. You add Zion to the mix, it is all but impossible. At 6'7", 285, the projected #1 overall pick is ready to go. See, what are you most excited to see from Zion as he gets ready for the tournament?
Well, I'm excited to see him get out in transition. I mean, he's a tremendous defender, and he can generate his own offense by either getting it off the glass or by defending at a high level. Coach K doesn't have to run a set play for him. You don't have to worry about that. So for me, it's the other things off the ball. Offensively, he's still got some challenges. He doesn't have a mid-range game. Can't do anything with his right hand except dunk it. Doesn't dribble to his right too often. So for me, it's the other things that he'll do. And what makes him going to be the #1 player is his overall athleticism. So out in the open court, in a tournament like this, that's what I want to see.
Well, listen, tonight's game is going to be, you mentioned Alabama when we were talking Coach Izzo, it's going to be an Alabama Citadel game where it's just one team's overwhelming athleticism, power, size, and strength. So tonight's game is not what I'm looking forward to.
So you're counting North Dakota State out?
I am, Jenna. They're not going to be this year's UMBC. And okay, well, I don't think I'm the only person counting North Dakota State out. He's going to have amazing. Carson Wentz ain't walking through that door for them this game. He's going to have amazing highlights in tonight's game. But set that aside. What I'm looking forward to for him in the tournament is how will he react late in close games? Will he defer to R.J. Barrett the way he has most of the season and the way it seems like the team has been set up for him to do? Or will he demand the ball late? If it is close late and Duke's got a 4-point lead with a minute left and the other team's trying to foul, is he comfortable going to the free throw line? Is he comfortable in that spot? And I've got circled on my bracket already, if we get it, speaking of Coach Izzo, a Michigan State Duke Elite Eight game when you are up against a team with that caliber of coaching that I'm certain there's someone on the Michigan State staff already that is putting together the game plan. How does he react to great coaching, a great team built around slowing him down? Because we know this. Duke, when Zion plays a full game, is 26-2. The two losses are an overtime loss to Syracuse and a 2-point loss to Gonzaga. They're 3-3 in games he doesn't play or he got hurt at the very beginning of. If you can neutralize Zion, Duke can get got. So that's going to be every team's #1 objective going into this tournament. How does he react to that? And how does he react to this level of pressure? Because this is different than the ACC tournament. It's certainly different than regular season college basketball games where no one loss really hurts you that badly. All of that is what I'm excited to see as far as projecting him on the next level.
Does he have anything left to prove to people, though? I know there's things he can improve on, but does he have anything left to prove as he gets ready to start?
I mean, we're getting to a society where, no, he shouldn't do anything. But to me, every time he goes out there, he's gotten better. Every game since he's been back from the injury, he's gotten better. No, his game is not evolved. He is not a strong offensive player. Like, he does not have a mid-range. He has a set three-point shot. Yes, so every time he's on the court against higher-level competition, he should improve at this stage.
And I don't think those types of improvements, like, is he all of a sudden going to change the type of player he's been? Not during this tournament. Those are over the next few years. Those are once he gets to an NBA team, once they start working with him in the offseason. But how does he respond to these moments? There's a reason that we've talked about it before, that guys that went to college, a lot of them had those great tournament moments, whether it's Steph, whether it's D-Wade's triple-double, whether it's Carmelo's entire tournament. Though I think Zion is that caliber of player, and we know he's on a good enough team.
Right.
So how will he respond in those moments after tonight? Tonight will just be a showcase for how athletic and fun Duke can be. But starting in round 2, anybody can be beaten. Those 8-9 matchups are real matchups. That's what I'm excited for.
All right, got to take a break. Coming up, is LeBron James on